What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So Michigan State football travels to Lincoln to face off against Nebraska on Saturday, 4 o'clock on FS1. Now, interesting spot for both teams. Both teams coming off a bye week, both sitting at 3-1 and 0-1 in the Big Ten Conference. Now, big spot here for both teams. As we said for Michigan State here, coming into this two-game road stretch at USC and at Nebraska, this is kind of starting that middle third portion for Michigan State. Over the next 4 games, I think we're going to find out a lot about this Michigan State team. You got at Nebraska, you got homecoming at home against UCLA, traveled on the road to a top 10 Indiana team, and then you have your rival at home. Where you look at Nebraska's next handful of games, a little bit easier. They obviously are coming off the loss to that school down the road last time out, only losing by 3 in that one though, but they have this Michigan State game against us, then they travel to Maryland and Minnesota, followed by Northwestern and USC the rest of this month, beginning of November. So this is a big spot for Michigan State. I feel like if Michigan State gets this win, they're able to secure that win at homecoming. Look, you're sitting at 5 wins if you win this game and the homecoming game. This next 4-game stretch, I think, will decide a lot. If we're scratching to get into a bowl game, kind of that last week of the season, last 2 weeks of the season even, or we're looking at possibly trying to improve our bowl game, looking at maybe 7-8 wins. So a lot to be decided this weekend, but before we do jump into the matchup, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State football content on the channel. Plus, as well, if you're watching this on Friday, Michigan State Madness for basketball is tonight, so we'll be heading to that as well. And a busy night on campus on Friday night, too. It's, we got women's tennis, we got men's soccer, we got an exhibition for the hockey team, and then we got Midnight Madness, MSU Madness, whatever you want to call it. We got a lot going on campus on Friday night, so if you're watching this before Friday night, make sure you get to campus, go green, wear white. But anyway, we'll have more videos breaking down the basketball portion of everything from Midnight Madness, kind of just it's, usually like a, 20-minute open run, essentially, so just, kind of an excitement for the beginning of the season. We'll have a video breaking down all of that after this weekend, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we got to start here with Nebraska, and Dylan Raiola, incredibly efficient offensively, 1,137 yards on the season, an 11-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 76% completion percentage. It's extremely efficient. He's been sacked 10 times though through 4 games, similar numbers to Aiden Childs, which we'll get to here eventually. Different arm angles and placing the ball in ideal positions for his receivers is definitely key and has been something that has been really impressed throughout his short 2-year career here so far there in Lincoln. Leading the running back room, Emmett Johnson, 391 yards. That's 5.5 yards per carry on the season, 4 touchdowns. Receivers, you start with Jarory Barney Jr., 301 yards on the year, 3 touchdowns. Dane Key, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. In the tight end room for them, Luke Lindenmeyer, 16 catches for 160 yards and a touchdown. The offensive line, as we said, has allowed 10 sacks on the year, which is the same number as the Michigan State offensive line so far on the year. As an offense for Nebraska, they are top 25 in third down conversion percentage. As a team, they're top 10 in fewest penalties, so they don't commit silly penalties throughout the game or any penalties at all. Top 10 in fewest penalties. Defensively, they only have 1 interception. Michigan State would like to continue their strong start throughout the air on the offensive side for Michigan State, so definitely something to possibly attack. Look at that secondary there for Nebraska. They have 6 sacks on the year, 2 by linebacker Dason McCullough. Their defensive backs make up 4 of the top 5 tacklers on the season, and that's partially due to Nebraska ranking 108th in run defense in the country. Big picture here, have to affect them in the passing game. Force Dylan Raiola, he is an incredible player and can, sneak out, as we said, change arm angles, make plays for the offense for them, he is efficient as well. 76% completion percentage on the season is incredible. That would be one of the tops in the country, no doubt. So definitely trying to just make it difficult for him. Really good on third down conversions, so trying to make those third downs as tough as possible. Third and longs, that's kind of the key every week, but getting to the pass rusher. But, middle of the pack, they are 86th in rushing offense against an MSU defense, which outside of the USC game has been the strength of this Michigan State defense so far. They're 11th in passing offense efficiency, so just trying to make them as inefficient as possible will be key. Obviously, for Michigan State, it starts with getting to the quarterback. We'll talk more about that as we jump into Michigan State here, but trying to rush Raiola, getting him into difficult situations where he does have to make those wow plays. Make him beat you with those wow plays will definitely be a key in this one, especially on the road for Michigan State. And if you can also force them to try to beat you on the ground instead of through the air with a proven guy so far, even though he is early in his career like Raiola, I think that'll be a key for Michigan State. But on the Michigan State side, first have to start out, I feel like we need an injury roundup over this last couple weeks. We now have Luka Vincic and Brady Pretzloff out for the season. Brady Pretzloff added to that out for the season list early this week at Jonathan Smith's press conference. Possibly Alante Brown as well. I know that was mentioned a couple weeks ago. We talked about Wayne Matthews, who obviously had that scary injury in the USC game. Obviously, thankfully, he was good enough, flew back with the team. And, from all signs this week, it sounds like he's been slowly ramping up and practicing, and there's a decent shot that you could see him on Saturday in the game. Nakai Martinez, Quindarius Dunnigan, they are possible for Saturday as well with Wayne Matthews. They both went out after running into each other in that USC game as well. Stanton Ramil, sounds like it's about a month injury that he'll be out. So assuming maybe end of October, maybe look at the Michigan game, possibly, if not beginning of November there to look at for Stanton Ramil. Obviously no set timetable, but Jonathan Smith said about a month. So just looking at the schedule, that's what you can kind of look at there. But yeah, so I think I just kind of want to start there with the Stanton Ramil portion of it. We saw Rustin Young get a lot of run at that left tackle position in the USC game. So it's kind of who fills that spot. Jonathan Smith talked about it in his, pregame press conference this week, that left tackle spot. Does Kyner Moore slide over there? Ashton Lepo obviously has some experience at the tackle positions as well. Are we going to see some more realignment on that offensive line? Over the first handful of weeks that we've seen a lot of shuffling. And, it seems like Jonathan Smith was fine with shuffling the offensive line, but, you think once you're getting into that heart of that schedule that, rotation would kind of, slim down a little bit. Now it's just unfortunately slimming down for the wrong reasons. And I don't even think it's slimming down because Rustin Young, I think he's going to be a good player here for Michigan State, but he wasn't necessarily in that group that was getting slimmed down, at this point. That's not saying something couldn't have happened, that he couldn't have made strides in practice and get into that. But unfortunately, that list is, still going to be larger because of the injuries. And now you're having to add, someone who wasn't necessarily in that top rotation. Coming in, obviously, Stanton Ramil was highly regarded coming into the season, at that left tackle position. So I think Rustin Young did some solid work in that USC game. So curious if they go there, curious if they go somewhere else. Obviously, it seems like they've had about 2 weeks now to kind of, figure that out and work on that. So curious to see. That's kind of the first thing I'm looking for when Michigan State comes out on offense. But also, too, kind of injury related is the linebacker room. That was a strength coming into the season, especially because of their depth, their talent, the young talent as well. Brady Pretzloff, incredibly high on Brady Pretzloff with now him out for the year. If Wayne can't go in this game as well, I mean, it's getting extra thin there. You'll get Jordan Hall back. Obviously, that horrible targeting call in the first half of the USC game. You still got, Darius Snow there, and, those are your starters that are left if Wayne can't go, and then, your Brady Pretzloff was kind of leading your two deep. So kind of interested to see who slides in at that linebacker room as well. But like we said, post USC, the offense, I'd give a B plus so far for this season. Definitely some probably more a B. There's definitely some stuff that they can improve on, but there is a bunch of stuff that we can, that we can be proud about, so far early part of this season here for Michigan State. On offense, the defense definitely has, a lot of room for improvement, especially after last week. I mean, through the first handful of weeks, it was kind of what we've known of Michigan State on defense over the last, 4 or 5 years. Is good in the run game, struggling in the pass defense. But against USC, the well was kind of just broke open. It was run game was hitting, passing game was hitting. Nothing was going right on the defensive side of the ball. So curious to see what adjustments are made there. They were dealt a tough hand in that USC game. Like, not even all the external factors, just in the game, injury-wise, Jordan Hall going out with the targeting penalty. So, curious to see what adjustments are made on the defensive side of the ball going into this one against another solid offense. And then starting up front with the line of scrimmage, it will have to continue to be the leading emphasis getting to the quarterback. We kind of talked about it, talking about Nebraska side of things, but only 6 sacks on the year, which is actually tied with Nebraska for 101st. So very similar at the line of scrimmage here. is Michigan State and Nebraska. Tackles for loss, a little better, mid-70s for Michigan State, but the run defense is now 47th. It was in the top 25-ish range, was definitely high up, but did drop quite a bit from that USC game, as they were just kind of gashing the defense in all parts, especially in the running game as well. So blending these next two stats together, Michigan State's defense is 115 in passing yards allowed. Turn that over to Nebraska, number 1 in passing yards allowed. So Michigan State's going to have to get the run game going in this one to be successful. Mekhi Frazier, hopefully continuing to heal up, will need to get that running game going. As we said, he's had a really solid start to the year for Michigan State and have been really happy with what we've seen from him. Definitely still some room for improvement. This year he's at about 4.7 yards a carry, has 2 touchdowns. Aiden Childs on the ground as well. We've definitely seen more of that this year, and think that's a really key part of the offense as well. But continuing to see Brandon Tullis, Elijah Tolliver, obviously not getting as many reps as Mekhi Frazier, but like to see them involved as well, because I think that running game really needs to get going, especially against a tough secondary for Nebraska to open up this passing game that has been so successful for Michigan State so far here early in the year. Curious to see Nick Marsh. I think Jonathan Smith did say this week that definitely wasn't 100% in that USC game, but no one's really 100% at this point in the year, kind of getting towards that middle part of the season. But only 2 catches in that USC game. Hopefully, obviously now with, essentially 2 weeks rest coming into this game, hopefully get him back going, more than 2 catches in this game. But Omari Kelly has been incredible as well. 317 yards on the year, a touchdown. Nick Marsh, 222 on the year and 3 touchdowns. So also Michael Masunis, tight end, becoming one of Aiden's top tight end targets, or top targets as just as a whole. And, that tight end being a safety valve throughout this year. Michael Masunis, 2 touchdowns on the year as well. Jack Vellings got in for a touchdown that, one probably less than a yard pass that Jack caught in that USC game. But like to see them continuing to get going, that opening that tight end room, and really this Jonathan Smith offense. We saw it with Jack Velling coming into last year from Oregon State, 2 years ago when he had all those touchdowns and whatnot. It was, that was kind of peak Jonathan Smith at Oregon State, where run game was going, outside receivers, we're going. So that opens up the tight end for, up the middle. And, everyone talked about it when he came in, like it was a lot of, scheming him open. Was, kind of the key word for, talking about Jack Velling and the tight ends in this offense. So definitely continuing to see that evolve, as I do think, as I said, offense I give a B+ so far this year. So really the defense just got to try to affect Dylan Raiola and make him beat you with those incredible plays. We've seen him do it, but make him beat you with those incredible plays. Don't let him sit back there with his 76% completion percentage on the year and just pick you apart. Don't let him do that. Make it difficult for him. Make him use those different arm angles that he likes to use to get on the run. And try to force them into running the ball. So defensive secondary needs to step up. Line of scrimmage needs to step up as well to try to slow down this solid Nebraska offense. But as we close out this one, going to jump into our 5 bets for the weekend. Didn't add up the season total. It's the last couple weeks have been fairly bad. But I'll try to throw that up on the screen here right now. If not, we'll have a post on Twitter. Usually posted on Saturdays, our picks. But yeah, let's try to get back over 500. I think we're definitely a couple games under 500 right now, so let's get that back up. But we're going to start with our game as we always do, Michigan State at Nebraska. I think of Michigan State 11.5. I think that's a large margin. As I said, I think this is a game that Michigan State definitely can win. But even if they don't win this game, 11.5 I think is a lot. I definitely think they can keep this within 10 for sure. But so I'm taking Michigan State plus 11.5 in this one. Next up, going to Illinois at Purdue. Taking Illinois 9.5. They've looked really solid this year outside of the Indiana game. Next up, Clemson at North Carolina. 2 very disappointing teams so far in the ACC, but I think Clemson, they continue to get right, even on the road at North Carolina. I'm taking Clemson minus 14.5. Alabama versus Vanderbilt at home. They got game day coming there and everything. A lot of hype around Vanderbilt as well, but I think Bama really found something in that Georgia game as well and starting to turn a corner. I got Alabama minus 10.5. Next up, or last up, should I say, Texas at Florida. I got Texas minus 5.5. Florida is just Floridaing this year. Not really confident in that. So even Texas going on the road, I got Texas minus 5.5. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. We'll be back, obviously, to recap this game later this weekend as well. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.